This is a private meeting, my aunt said. Immediate family only. How did you even find out? My uncle added. I smiled and said, perfect. I am immediate. 5 minutes later, the lawyer read the will, and it left them speechless. I wasn't even supposed to know they were meeting. But the universe has a flair for drama, and apparently decided my role in the family soap opera needed a plot twist. Enter, a text from my cousin, clearly not meant for me. Tomorrow 2 p.m. at Hartman's. Don't tell ya, okay? And then, oops. Wrong chat. Classic. If you're gonna scheme behind someone's back, maybe double-check who's in the group thread. I stared at the message. Read it 3 times. First came the pins and needles in my fingers. Then that cold drop in the gut. And finally, that oh-so-familiar internal sigh. Oh. Here we go again. Yeah, Grandpa Harold died 2 weeks ago. Yeah, he had money. A lot of it. And yeah, he basically ran the family business, and the family, come to think of it. He was also the only one who knew how I liked my tea, hot, black, lemon, no sugar, no wincing, and the only one who believed my strawberry allergy wasn't psychosomatic. They didn't invite me to the reading of his will. Because, as Aunt Cynthia would no doubt say, I've made my choice. The choice being, mom or money. I picked mom. 20 years ago. Still paying for it, apparently. I hesitated. I really did. Part of me thought, screw it. Let them divide the empire like it's a damn estate sale. I have a job. A modest apartment. A cat named Houdini. And very low expectations of people in general. But Grandpa. He'd want me there. He'd look over his glasses, give me that little nod, and say something like, good. You came. Watch carefully. This'll be fun. So I showed up. The office was aggressively expensive, leather chairs, oak trim, paper-scented silence. Hartman, the lawyer, looked like he won a Nobel Prize in patience. Seated at the table, Aunt Cynthia, all sharp lines and blazer shoulder pads, Uncle Mark, always plotting something, their kids, Rebecca and Josh, and a couple of extra relatives I never remember the names of. As I walked in, every conversation flatlined. Leah, my uncle drawled, like I just walked into a funeral wearing fishnets. How did you find out? Technology, I said. Phones. Wild concept, I know. He exhaled through his nose like a bull. Josh rolled his eyes. Cynthia muttered something like, we had an agreement. This is a private meeting, Aunt Cynthia tried, slipping into her majesty of the table voice. Immediate family only. Perfect. I'm immediate. I dropped my bag and Saturday, granddaughter, direct line. Unless you've redefined biology lately. You're wasting your time, she snapped. You're not getting anything. Hartman cleared his throat, opened the folder. I believe we can begin. Uncle Mark straightened his tie, visibly bracing. Just a brief note first, he said. We've already divided most of the assets, per mutual understanding. Harold expressed his wishes before he passed. We simply honored them. I nearly laughed. Honored. Such a polite way to say, grabbed what you could while the body was still warm. Hartman set down his pen. I'm afraid that's not possible. According to the legal trust dated 6 months ago, all assets, including real estate, financial accounts, collections, and the controlling shares in the company, are to be transferred. He looked up, right at me. To Leah Allen Wallace. And then, nothing. No gasps. No fainting. Just, absolute, air sucked from the room's silence. I even heard someone's pen crack in their hand. And in that silence, louder than any scream, I realized something. Everything had just shifted. The way they looked at me. The way I'd move through this story from now on. This was only the beginning. Let me be blunt, a wealthy aging man surrounded by relatives circling like vultures isn't some cheesy soap opera plot. It was my reality last year. With one small twist, the pie they were trying to divide was my grandfather. And I, according to them, was just the fly on top of the frosting. Before he passed, things looked normal. From a distance. If you didn't listen too hard. Once Grandpa Harold started slipping, not physically, the man was built like a tank, but mentally. Names, dates, focus, all started to blur. That's when the family pounced. Like they'd been holding a starter pistol, just waiting for the cue. He forgot someone's name. First came the Care Council. That's what they called it. Council. They'd officially stopped using the word family. Of course I wasn't invited. Why would I be? But Grandpa told me. He called, a little embarrassed. Seems like they're having a meeting. Without you. Not sure why. Oh, I was sure. I knew exactly why. Because I'm Ruby's daughter. Ruby, my mom. The woman Grandpa didn't kick out when she dared to marry a college professor instead of the business partner's golden boy. The woman everyone else did kick out. And I followed her. I was 8. I didn't choose legacy. I chose the person who hugged me good morning. Then came the infamous visitation schedule. A bureaucratic masterpiece. To avoid exhausting Dad. So everyone gets time. My slot. Sundays, 2 to 3 p.m. Like I was booking a lap swim at the community pool. And wouldn't you know it, during my hour, someone always popped in. Josh dropping off documents. Rebecca forgot a sweater. Cynthia, just swinging by. You ever sit in a room with 3 people pretending everything's fine? It's quiet. Stiff. Smells like cold tea and fake smiles. I'd try to talk to Grandpa. How are you feeling? He'd nod. Fine. Then squeeze my hand so tight his knuckles went white. Once a month, I broke the schedule. Just happened to be in the neighborhood. Every time, I ran into someone, Rebecca, Mark, or the private nurse they hired. He had a perfectly good clinic and support team, but suddenly he needed 24/7 home care. Ms. Liao, I'm sorry. You need to give notice before visiting. Sure I do. They started taking over everything, his food, his meds, even his clothes. Cynthia, without blinking, once told me. We removed his cashmere sweaters. They remind him of his mother. That's harmful. I asked, and you figured that out how? Elder psychology. I read about it. Probably in the same magazine that teaches 10 ways to fight depression on your yacht. One day I brought him a scarf. Dark green, monogrammed. We picked it out together 10 years ago. 2 days later. Gone. Where's the scarf? I asked. Maybe in the wash, Grandpa said. And smiled that tired smile people wear when they know they're being treated like furniture but pretend otherwise. He remembered everything. He understood everything. He just acted weaker than he was. I saw it in his eyes. The way he winked when Cynthia announced she'd be coordinating his diet now. And then, things started disappearing. First, little stuff. A stamp album, gone. A signed book from his war buddies, missing. A photo of my dad, cut out of the frame. When I asked, Cynthia replied. We just simplified the room. A cleaner environment is best. It's a modern approach. Sure. Simplified as in, one empty shelf and a single drinking glass. I went to the lawyer. Not about the will, about the weirdness. The vanishing items. The control. The way they were shrinking his life into this sterile, scheduled box of pills and permission slips. The lawyer said, if he's of sound mind, he can make his own choices. But he has to say so himself. He did. Just not to them. To me. One day, I dropped by, and he said. Leah, you know what they're doing, don't you? I nodded. I'm staying quiet, for now. Let them think they've won. Sometimes that's easier. But I'm keeping notes. I remember everything. I've made plans. I never forgot those words. Because there was no anger in them. Just steady, quiet certainty. He was a chess player. He already saw the checkmate coming. Even if the pieces were still moving, he knew exactly how this would end. Our last real moment, just the two of us, was the day before his final hospital trip. We sat on the porch. I brought cookies and coffee in a thermos. He drank slowly, savoring it. Watched the garden like it was a living painting. You know, he said, I've lived a long life. And I've learned one thing. Family isn't about blood. It's about eyes. If someone looks at you and sees a resource, not a person. That's not family. That's business. Then he stood, slowly, carefully, went inside and returned with a small wooden box. What's this? For you. But not yet. Only when it gets really bad. If things go sideways, open it. It's not money. It's something better. I didn't ask. I just took it. Like a soldier handed a map. He died 6 days later. Heart failure. No one called me. No hospital updates. No funeral date. I found out through a family acquaintance, Cynthia had called him as a board representative. At the memorial, they sat me in the third row. Behind the former accountant. And the guy who used to mow Grandpa's lawn. Rebecca didn't say a word. Mark avoided eye contact. Cynthia looked right through me like I was a smudge on glass. But Grandpa. He knew. He saw. And in the end. He chose. I used to think Christmas dinners were peak family dysfunction. Turns out, I was wrong. Nothing beats the collective greed of relatives in tailored suits, armed with polite hostility and fake smiles. That day, in Hartman's conference room, it was sweltering, despite the air conditioning blasting. Maybe because the temperature was coming from the stairs. All of them aimed at me. Shock. Disgust. Rage. I sat slightly off to the side. Casually. Like I always did. That's my role in this family, casually off to the side. It's safer. For me, and for their egos. There was a thick file on the table. The room smelled like paper, coffee, and old leather. Everything was perfect. Even the tension, crisp and well-pressed. Then Mark exploded. What did you just say? That's not possible. This is illegal. Rebecca practically screeched. It's a fake. He wasn't even lucid. Hartman cleared his throat. Same face surgeons make when they tell you they removed everything they could, but the tumor's still winning. I'll now read the provisions of Mr. Wallace's trust, signed 6 months ago, to be executed upon his death. Signed. Uncle Mark snorted. 6 months ago, he was calling the dog by my name. There are 3 independent medical evaluations confirming full mental capacity, Hartman replied evenly. All protocols were followed. There's even a video recording. He was old, Cynthia hissed. He could have been manipulated. Please, Hartman continued, opening the file. As per Mr. Wallace's instructions, all assets, including the Broad Street property, the Lake House, antique collections, financial accounts, controlling shares of the company, and all personal belongings, are to be transferred entirely and exclusively to Leah Allen Wallace. You know that cliché about the air leaving the room? Yeah. That. Cynthia's spine straightened like she'd swallowed rebar. Rebecca jumped to her feet. Mark opened his mouth but forgot to make sound. And me? I just sat there. Like none of this had anything to do with me. Like I was watching it happen to someone else on a Netflix show. This is a mistake, Cynthia gasped. He would never. He signed it himself, Hartman said again. In sound mind. Witnessed. And recorded. We demand to see the video, Mark muttered. Of course. But first, per his request, I've been asked to give Leah a personal letter. He handed me an envelope. My hands were shaking. Heavy paper. Smelled like dust, ink, and Grandpa's office. His handwriting, shaky, but still his. There's something unreal about holding a letter from a dead man. Like the past just leaned in and whispered, "I see you. I believe in you." I didn't open it right away. Some things deserve silence. Privacy. Your full heart. You really think this is yours now? Rebecca snapped. You think you earned this? I looked at her. Really looked. For the first time in my life, I didn't try to explain. No. I don't think anything. I'm just reading what it says, entirely to Leah Wallace. Black and white. You can read, can't you? We'll take you to court, Mark barked. This isn't over. This is just beginning. I stood. That's your right, Uncle Mark, I said simply. And walked out. I could have stayed. Watched the video. Listened to them spiral, screaming, accusing Hartman of fraud, cursing the universe for being unfair. But I'd had enough. Outside, it was sunny. Stupidly sunny. Like the world didn't care that a family just went thermonuclear. I walked home slowly, telling myself over and over. This isn't a dream. This isn't a mistake. This is real. When I got home, the first thing I did was make tea. Chamomile. Comforting. Predictable. Especially if you add honey and pretend you didn't just become the sole owner of a mini empire. Then I pulled out the box Grandpa gave me the last time we were alone. It was heavy. Carved wood. No lock. But it felt like a vault. I opened it. Inside. A stack of papers. A flash drive. And a note. Leah. If they start a war, use this. I planned ahead. I laughed. Out loud. That was so him. I was laughing and crying at the same time, like my whole body didn't know which way to go. On top of the pile was a typed list, annotated by hand. Inventory of misplaced items. 1. Hamilton collector's watch, accidentally left with Josh. 2. Stamp album, 1922 to 1945, disappeared after one of Mark's visits. 3. Hand-carved coffee table, now in Cynthia's living room. Etc. Next to each item. Photos. Dates. Signatures. Even surveillance footage stills. I grabbed the flash drive and plugged it into my laptop. At first, it was just ordinary clips. Grandpa in his chair. Grandpa in the garden. Then one clicked on. March 3rd, Grandpa, on camera. Clear-eyed. I, Harold Wallace, being of sound mind, confirm my decision to leave everything I own to my granddaughter Leah. Because she's the only one who hasn't looked at me like a bag of money for the last 10 years. If you're watching this, they're probably already furious. But this isn't revenge. This is justice. I stared at the screen. Couldn't breathe. He planned it all. All of it. And me. I never wanted the money. The title. The power. I just wanted to be there. To be someone he trusted. Now I had the flash drive. The paperwork. The trust. And the letter. I finally opened it. My Leah. If you're reading this, they've already bared their teeth. I'm not surprised. They've always valued control more than love. But you. You were always different. You listen. You see. You remember. I'm not asking you to seek revenge. But don't let them trample you. These documents, this footage, this list, they're your armor. Use it if you must. Or burn it if peace matters more. You are my family. Truly. The rest? Just background noise. Love. Grandpa. I folded the letter. Sat still for a long time. No music. No drama. Just tea. And silence. And the scent of honey, dust, and a brand new war. You know what I naively thought, a week after the courtroom drama at Hartman's office? That it was over. Done. Maybe a few snide comments in the family group chats, which I'd already muted long ago. But no. Of course not. They decided to go full Shakespeare. It was a random Tuesday. I was boiling pasta and trying not to burn my veggie patties when my phone rang. It was Hartman. Same calm voice as always, like he was calling to congratulate me on being nominated for Petty Heiress of the Year. Leah, he began, very solemnly. They filed a motion in district court. They're contesting the trust. I froze mid-scoop. Like, spoon halfway to my mouth kind of freeze. You're joking. Dead serious. They're claiming Harold was mentally incompetent. Right. Of course. What makes more sense than saying the man who was still running a company, driving his car, filing taxes, and discussing investment strategies, suddenly lost his marbles the moment he stopped treating them like heirs and started seeing them for the entitled vultures they were. The hearing got scheduled fast. Preliminary review. I wore the navy blazer Grandpa gave me. The one with the silver lining and the missing inside button I never sewed back on. Felt fitting. Slightly polished on the outside, a little frayed inside, just like this whole saga. Courtroom was cool. Neutral. The kind of room that makes you feel like the walls are trying really hard not to take sides. They sat on the right. I was on the left. Our attorneys squared off like duelists at dawn. The judge. Late 60s. Gray bob. Face said, I've seen it all and then some. Mark went first, voice trembling with what he probably thought was righteous indignation. Harold was sick. He was forgetting names. They took advantage of him. Then Hartman stood. Calm. Respectful. He had this way of speaking like he already knew how it was going to end. Your Honor, we have 3 psychiatric evaluations from licensed professionals, all dated within 6 months prior to the trust's execution. Additionally, we have a video in which Mr. Wallace, fully lucid, explains his decision and motivations. The judge nodded. Let's see it. They played the video. Grandpa. Sitting tall in his chair. Wearing a blazer. Speaking clearly. The date on screen, March 3rd. He states his full name. Address. Date of birth. Then mine. Slowly. Firmly. I leave everything to my granddaughter Leah. Because she's the only one who hasn't treated me like an ATM these last 10 years. Silence. The judge paused the video. Flipped through a few pages. Looked at Mark. Do you have any actual evidence of mental incompetence? Mark sputtered. We believe it was obvious from his behavior. Belief isn't enough. Motion denied. If you wish to refile, you'll need substantial new evidence. I'm also considering sanctions for frivolous litigation. Bang, gavel. I didn't smile. But inside, it felt like someone cracked a window in a room that had been sealed for decades. From that point, things moved fast. Hartman and his team kicked into full legal bulldozer mode. Every single relative, turns out I'd blocked out how many there were, received a formal letter. Notice of prohibited use of Harold Wallace's assets. Demand for return of specific property items. A polite but pointed heads up, failure to comply equals civil suit. A couple days later, I got a package. No name. No return address. Inside. The Hamilton watch. The one Josh accidentally took. No note. No apology. Just mailed back like a bad Amazon impulse buy. Next was a padded envelope, stamp album. Mark, obviously. I'm guessing his wife made him do it. Rebecca. She didn't send anything. Instead, she posted a heartfelt Facebook rant about how money destroys family bonds. Sure, sweetie. Especially when you're stealing someone else's furniture. But I didn't want to fight back just to jab them. I wanted something better. Something clean. I gathered the paperwork, talked to a few people. A week later, I announced the launch of the Harold Wallace Foundation. scholarships, mentorship programs, support for young entrepreneurs. It wasn't much. Not yet. But it felt real. Solid. Forward. I posted a clip from the video, Grandpa saying, "It's not about how much you have. It's about what you pass on." People responded. Strangers. Messages like, "Thank you. This is inspiring. I wish I'd had a grandfather like that." And for the first time in months, it felt like someone hit the reset button inside me. A month later, I invited the family. Not to reconcile. Just to pick one item. Something real. Something honest. Mark came. Took the old calculator. Said he used to teach me math with this. Cynthia didn't show. Sent an email. "Thank you for the gesture. I don't need handouts." Sure. Keep telling yourself that. Josh came. Quiet. Picked up a notebook filled with Grandpa's sketches. Said, "Thanks." And left. And then, I found it. In the bottom drawer of Grandpa's desk. A sealed envelope. Labeled, to be opened after everything. I sat down. Opened it. Read every word. My Leah. If you're reading this, then I'm gone. And hopefully, they've quieted down. At least a little. Just remember, this was never about revenge. It was about memory. About trust, which is rare and precious. I saw you. I watched you keep showing up, even when it hurt. Even when it cost you. Do what you think is right. I'd be proud of you either way. Harold. I slipped the letter back into its envelope. Gently. Like it could break. Now I live in his house. The kitchen still smells like coffee. The office is organized. His picture's on the desk. And the cat thinks his chair is now his. I didn't forgive everyone. Didn't expect forgiveness either. But I made a choice. Not to get revenge. Just to live. On my own terms. Today, the cat knocked a folder off the desk. Labeled family. Papers scattered everywhere. I looked at it. And laughed. Not bitter. Not angry. Just, human. Okay, I said. Let's try again. But this time. I make the rules. I still don't know if I did everything right. I didn't flip tables or scream or force anyone to bow at my feet. I just did what I thought he would have wanted. He once told me. Being decent doesn't mean being easy to walk over. So now I'm asking you, what do you think? Did I go too far? Or not far enough? Drop your thoughts in the comments, I'd honestly love to hear what you would have done. And hey, if this story hit something in you, subscribe to the channel. There's more where this came from.